How many things in your life would you say are revolved around drugs? Or revolved around drugs?
A lot. My movies, my music, I acted, all of my friends, my entire lifestyle.
How would you define drug abuse?
How would I define drug abuse? Drug abuse to me would be like higher, more powerful drugs to be abused. I mean, like coke, heroin, meth, PCP, all of those, like other, like opium and stuff like that. I mean, those can be abused, and like I would define that as just like pretty much a junkie. I mean, once you start, you can't stop. And marijuana with that, I mean, once you start, you're able to stop. It's not like you're addicted to it.
What kind of impact and how big of an impact do you think that drugs have on our society today?
Drugs are a pretty big impact on our society. I mean, like kids nowadays, they're going around, doing all these different drugs. Have no idea that what they're doing can actually kill them or like what's inside of it. I mean, for instance, cocaine has gasoline mixed in with it. I mean, you're sniffing gas. I mean, what the hell's going on with that? I mean, drug abuse has had a big impact on like kids nowadays, especially nowadays, because all kids are trying to do is like, hey, I want to be cool, let's go do what these guys are doing, and that's not the way to go. I mean, you wanna have fun, you don't want to screw your life up.
How bad do you think drug abuse is today?
Drug abuse today is actually pretty bad, especially on the younger age of kids, because they don't, like, they're watching everything on TV like, hey, sweet, that dude's sniffing some powder. It doesn't look like it's doing anything to him. Let's go sniff some powder. And then what happens? They end up becoming, coke addicts for the rest of their lives, spending all of their money on coke and living in the gutter. I mean, seriously, there's no life to that. So, I mean, yeah, drugs have had a really big impact on, today's newer generation on kids.
Do you ever resort to abusing drugs, and why?
No, I would never resort to abusing drugs, and I would never touch anything other than marijuana, and I won't touch marijuana now. Like, before, I mean, drugs scare me. Like, honestly, meth, to think that you can be addicted to meth and, like, the body change of what goes on, like seriously, the bags under your eyes, you can see the bones in your chest, and like you don't want to eat and your body's just pretty much deteriorating. I mean, that doesn't sound fun to me. I mean, I'd much rather have my lungs go black than, have the rest of my body be destroyed.
What is your definition of drug abuse?
Especially if they're close to you.
What do you feel about drugs, and how do you think they influence today's society?
Kids should be so careful. The drugs are the worst thing that has happened. That's why our young people, even the old ones, the young people use drugs, and that's horrible. The drugs are the devil. They do things that they would never do in their senses. They're even mean to their families. They don't care about themselves, so I pray that the kids never get their hands on drugs, because that will ruin their lives forever.
Another huge issue today is teen pregnancy. How big of an issue do you feel it is?
And be aware of our own behavior.
How big of an issue do you think teen sex and teen pregnancy is today?
Teen sex and teen pregnancy, honestly, seriously, all I have to say is if kids are going to go out and do it, I mean, do it right. I mean, don't be a fool, wrap your tool, seriously. If you're 16, 9 months later, you're still going to be 16, and you're going to have a kid on top of that. So don't be stupid and wear a condom. Because, yes, there are a lot of STDs and stuff out there, and that's one of the things that I do think kids should look out for is STDs, because I know damn for sure that I ain't going to be like, hey, you have AIDS, let's go bone.
High school students are slowly becoming more accepted towards sex. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, students should be very careful. That's how there's so many young girls having babies. They're babies themselves. Sex is a wonderful thing when you get married, clean. God put it that way. A wife and a husband, not teenagers. Teenagers are not smart enough to be careful. There's a lot of sickness. It can bring you very, very bad trouble. So be careful with it.
You yourself, underage drinking is becoming more and more common every year. Do you feel that society is not doing enough to fix this issue?
Society is not at fault necessarily. Society is made up of individuals, and individuals have a free will.